We'll be putting together an art book of a lot of the assorted images I've done for prints and for other commercial clients that have never been seen in a collected form before. I want to make it easier for my collectors to get those images more than just on your computer, but in print, where you can kind of more casually come upon it. Although using your phone to look up images is casual, but to me it's not. I like everything to be on paper, and I like to have something all kind of collected and combined where you can get to it in a library. And so our intent is to get a full book together of a lot of those images which I've produced in the last 10 to 15 years that have really not been assembled before.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. I'm welcoming back one of my favorite comic power couples, the brains behind King Kirby, a fantastic play that depicts the life of Jack Kirby in very creative ways. It has been on stage, and lately they've been transforming it into an incredible audio production as well. It's Fred Van Lente and Crystal Skillman. Good evening, all.
Hey, John.
Hi, good evening.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so great to be here, John.
As always, great to see you guys. And I'm thrilled. Honestly, I've enjoyed this project since you guys told me about it firsthand, and then to see all the different iterations and how it's going during this strange time. That hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel as far as what's happening with COVID, as far as getting back to live performances and all. But in the meantime, you guys have turned King Kirby into a great audio production, and tell us where it stands right now.
It's been actually doing very well. We're super pleased. It's at Broadway Podcast Network. The show was originally off Broadway, and but now it's turned into a great audio production with Crystal's pal Bobby Cronin, the great composer, doing all the music and sound effects and stuff. And every episode is now available streaming right now for free. At Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, probably down on the street corner, probably in banks. If you put your ear to the ground, you can probably hear it. And you can watch it also for free, listen to it for free at BroadwayPodcastNetwork.com.
Yep. And you on social, you can follow at King Kirby Play. We have a lot of goodies that we've been sharing on Instagram and Twitter. And we have a beautiful comic book trailer as well that's up on the Broadway Podcast Network site. And really excited about it. Yeah, the last time we were here, we had been playing with a different iteration, and this is completely
it's completely different than we were talking about earlier. Different
cast as well?
No, same cast, but new music. We had music written for it, so the scoring is complete. Sound effects, different editing, and what's awesome is there's a 5th episode now that just dropped today. In fact, that is a roundtable, sort of a talk back between me, Crystal, and the whole cast, and Bobby, the composer, conducted by Rob Salkowitz, who's a great comics reporter for Forbes. And
absolutely. Yes, it did.
Lots of great sites. So he's
friend of Word Balloon. Absolutely. No, that's terrific. That's great, man. That's wonderful. Crystal, is this your only play that you've adapted so far to audio?
Yeah, well, I'm working on an original scripted series with Boom Integrated, and it's called The Magician's Magicians. It's inspired by Open and does have magical elements to it. It's been really fun. So I was starting to script that before I got this idea, originally someone came and said, "Oh, would you be interested in making this a podcast?" And we realized, it could be an audio drama. But so it's been really neat to work on something original in that state for that medium. And at the same time, be seeing how this terrific recording that we had could be 4 episodes, could be episodic. And in, when we had the opportunity to relook at it in this version that you have now, the one that's out on Broadway Podcast Network and everywhere, I really was excited about the score sounding modern, sounding like a superhero soundtrack, and Bobby was as well. And so, my thought long term is that if we ever return to the stage, that score would be what you hear as part of the Broadway production.
That's great. That's excellent. And Fred, has it made you, again, you've written on a lot of different mediums. Has this made you want to do more audio? Is that an area you want to play in?
Absolutely. Like I grew up, I think we discussed this before, John, like my dad had the records, the old Orson Welles Shadow radio drama. So when I was like 8, I had like a little tape recorder and I would like act out. I did a lot of the Steve Ditko Spider-Man comics.
Outstanding.
As radio play. So this is sort of a return to form for me. So yeah, definitely kicking around some ideas.
We have some ideas together. Fred has his own ideas.
That's right.
Pretty fun. Yeah.
That's excellent. No, that's great. It's crazy. 2 things. And I'm sure you guys, again, because you're younger than me and you're not aware of these things, I stumbled on these albums when I was going through like a great record store in Chicago, and of course, independent record stores. They're coming back. Vinyl's coming back. You know that. I'm going to reach for one of the albums while we're talking. I hope I have one handy. I do. Excellent. Roulette Records back in the late 50s had this novel idea, and they created 15 albums under the umbrella title of CoStar. And it would be, and Monty Python actually did a great parody of this, where they'd have a scene and a famous actor, and then blank spots for you to do the performance with the star. And so, like, for example, here's Cesar Romero,
the Joker.
Wow.
Insane, and it has the script and several scenes, and there are men and women scenes in there. A couple of them are crime scenes. One is Cesar Romero's an experienced crook, and you're the newbie, and you're cracking a safe, and a double cross happens. It's fantastic. But it's I've gotten 8 of the albums. The women that are on there are Paulette Goddard and Pearl Bailey, which is really interesting.
Interesting.
And you forget sometimes that Pearl Bailey, obviously made her share of movies as well. She's so great in Carmen Jones, with Dorothy Dandridge, of course, and Harry Belafonte. But it's her and Paulette Goddard are the actresses that I got, and then the actors are Cesar Romero, Vincent Price. Vincent Price does a Western scene where he's a gambler. Sure, and it's like fantastic. And this guy that I'm sure you guys don't know, a boxer who became a character actor, Slapsy Maxie Rosenblum. I know he was he was a light heavyweight champion, and he had a hot nightclub in L.A. called Slapsy Maxie's that was in that Martin and Lewis era, and having Sinatra and all the great crooners and the great nightclub comics and stuff. His was one of the big clubs, but he really was one of those okay, Rocky, kind of guys.
Right.
Either playing hoodlums or ex-boxers and stuff. Like
a Looney Tunes character come to life.
For real, yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure Mel Blanc is imitating, Slapsy when he does that. But so let's see. Okay, so Basil Rathbone does scenes from the Brothers Karamazov. Why not? And then George Raft does scenes from They Drive by Night, the Humphrey Bogart film.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Wow.
Which we just saw recently.
We just saw.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're hilarious. They're funny as hell, and I'm really looking forward to like putting some of those together and throwing them up. That, and then the other thing that I found, and this is so like classic radio, and especially of my era, they have what they call, a lot of the record labels would do these open interviews, and essentially they would send you an interview with a recording artist and a script. And that way, the guy in Ashtabula can like, hey, guess what? I got the Beatles in studio talking about their brand new movie, Help.
Right.
And I've got the Beatles. I have Tom Jones from 1970. I have Sammy Davis Jr. from 1970. I can't wait to do them. And this comedian who used to be on the Smothers Brothers, I wish I had gotten it a year earlier. It was Pat Paulson. Back in 1968, and he would run for president. And he's this great deadpan comic that would be on the Smothers Brothers and stuff. And it's all about him running for president.
That's
so
great.
I used to get those in the 80s at my college radio station and my first couple professional jobs as well. And I had ones with Phil Collins and Paul Simon that unfortunately, after the fifth move, I got rid of a lot of my vinyl and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. After the CoStar ones, I'm like, I wonder if there's open-end interviews, if I can find any of those. So I found like 5 of those.
That's
So
amazing.
it's so ridiculous. Well,
I've never heard of the CoStar thing, which almost feels like celebrity karaoke.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to putting some of that stuff together and juicing them up with more music and sound effects and stuff.
Right.
It's pretty funny. And the Python bit is hilarious where they do that because they play this really annoying buzzer when you're supposed to be giving your line. And it's like, what's that gun in your hand? And it's just, it becomes very silly. But it's
wow, great. I'm obsessed. Yeah. I also think it would be such a fun playwriting challenge to get the record, and you'd have to write your own dialogue in response to, you get surreal or weird, with Cesar Romero or whoever.
I can send you links. The Vincent Price one actually is online.
I am a big Vincent Price nut.
So yeah, if you want to play with that, it's
That's great.
But I'm happy to give you guys any access to any of the stuff that I got and everything. But like if you want vinyl now, it's especially something as weird as that. $10 is as much as I spend on any of these albums. Totally worth it to me.
Right? Yeah, I bet.
So yeah, and then for New Yorkers, as you are, do you guys again? This is before our time. I think the place probably closed down in the 70s. Danny's Hideaway. Do you know about that place? Danny's Hideaway was a place that, much like Elaine's and Sardi's, was a post theater hangout, and really also more so a post live TV hangout for like the Sid Caesar Group and all the different variety shows that were coming out of New York in the 50s and in the 60s. And I bought a couple postcards because they would have things like the Gabby Hayes room at Danny's, and it would have all this ridiculous memorabilia up and everything and autographed pictures. And I buy the postcards from Danny's, and then also I splurged and I bought an ashtray from Danny's as well with the Danny's Hideaway logo on it.
This is cool. You got cool stuff. I mean, New York is just this amazing. I mean, place that gosh, I can't wait to. I just signed up to talk in Times Square. It's been a year. I haven't been to Manhattan in a year, but through Dramatist Guild. It'll be socially distanced, but they can do a dramatist because we're trying to figure out how actors can do more. But I have a guild, not a union. So there we go. I'm making my own decisions. And, we can share a piece. And at the Red Steps at Times Square. And I just got that today. I was like, you know what? I'm going to sign up. So I'm going to do it.
That's awesome. There's a couple questions before we get into our trivia, which I know is part of what we're going to be discussing tonight.
Absolutely.
And Carl Bakey says, have you all listened to any other theater play podcasts like 36 Questions or John Cameron's Mitchell's Anthem come to mind?
I have not. However, I will plug the app we're on. You can download the Broadway Podcast Network app that King Kirby is on. They're our network. They've done great by us. I have to admit, there is one podcast that I am excited about. It's called Meet the Muppets, and it's an episode by episode deep dive into every episode of the original Muppet Show. I have not started it yet. It's by one of the stars of Hamilton does it.
Funny.
And I am excited.
Yep.
Because we have started rewatching the Muppet Show on. I know it's not technically Broadway, but it's on the Broadway Podcast Network. So
fair enough.
And the Muppet Show is a show about a vaudeville troupe, right? Essentially, that are puppets. So I'm excited.
Well, and
that's awesome.
John Cameron Mitchell, I'm a big fan. Anthem is absolutely on my list. And I actually got more into in the beginning. I also write for musical theater. It was a great question that was just asked. So I got into Bleeding Love, and my friend David Zelnick has a musical called Loveville High. And so I started listening to original musicals. So Anthem might be musical. I'm not sure, which would be great. But that's kind of where I started. And that's how, with Bleeding Love, I was like, whoa, this is so incredible. It's like this post-apocalyptic musical. And that's how I really started to, I knew Dory Bernstein, who had created it with Alan, which is great, but I didn't really know so much of the content until that musical came out. And I started listening to it and I was like, whoa, I'm obsessed.
Well, I bring this up, in any comics podcast we do, is part of the reason that Dory at Broadway Podcast Network wanted to do our show about Jack Kirby, was she actually had offices down the hall from Steve Ditko's studio.
Wow.
And so she would chat with him and run the hallway and stuff. So she
that's great.
Interested in this kind of material just because she had that personal connection.
Yeah, and I'm sure he appreciated not getting Spider-Man questions from her.
That's right, from someone who barely knew who he was.
Yep,
at least at first.
And timeline-wise, it's very interesting. All those meetings kind of happened right after when we talked to you in the fall. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I understand.
We're balloon bump.
Yep.
I certainly hope so. That's great. I certainly hope that's the case. That's terrific. I've been listening to more audio drama podcasts, and it's so great because you can really, as you guys know, in putting together the soundtrack and more sound effects into the King Kirby production, just audio has really taken such leaps forward. And just like your dad, Fred, I'm a massive old-time radio fan. And I have, listened to stuff, the 50s. It's such a shame. And I'm sure you and I have discussed this before, that the 50s were such a shame in terms of while television was growing, radio was dying.
Sure.
And radio really, that last decade, really upped its game. The writing was better. The sound effects and music. I always say Gunsmoke is such a superior radio show to what it was on TV. And it was a fine television show. But it was a really gritty, amazingly well acted and beautifully put together show on radio.
Yeah, and we just did last week. We did a podcast out of England, and obviously there, thank you, state support of the arts.
Yes,
the radio drama never went away.
Yep,
they had major awards for it.
Yeah. They have a totally different attitude about that.
And I'd like to say that in the scripted work I was doing before this, even and before the musicals, even just episodic work. There's Girl in Space, which I fell in love with. A lot of theater people that I know put together Split Valley, which is great. It's only 6-minute episodes, kind of like Twin Peaks and mysterious in a forest. That I love. I got into Caravan. I got into I'm a big fan. No one really talks about. It's a huge one, but no one really. I haven't heard anyone else talk about Hello from the Magic Tavern. I just think is magical and amazing, and it's like there's all these great comedians on it, and basically this guy is drunk and he's a podcaster and he falls into a magic hole behind the bar, and he's like, and so he ends up interviewing all the magical creatures and and it's really fun. So I like ones like that. But I love Limetown.
Cool. Welcome to Night Vale, of course.
Welcome to Night Vale and there are spin-offs of Alice. I think it's Alice Isn't Dead. And I mean, it's incredible. And they have Within the Wires too, which is found audio that you can listen to, and that they're short and they're they are the masters, man. I love them.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. Let's see here. Some other comments. Synchro Shadow Advanced writes, are there any definitive works you would recommend for learning about Jack Kirby, his work and life?
Tom Foley's book that just came out last year from 10 Reviews.
Yes,
is pretty good.
I agree.
Excuse me. That's a graphic novel version. That's probably the most comprehensive, sort of readily available, book. I mean, our podcast does a very good job of succinctly going through all the highlights.
I agree, absolutely.
But if you need a book. If you're one of those people,
we are a book too. The play is available.
That's true, and you can get the play on Amazon. That's true.
And Dante Hicks wants you to know that he's enjoyed your podcast. It's been amazing,
Thank
and
you.
also acknowledges your comic book history of animation.
Very much. I just
and
got my comp for number 4.
Outstanding.
In a week or two.
We had Ryan on, Ryan Dunleavy, your collaborator in all these great projects on Friday on our drink and draw that we did for the Hero Initiative.
That's right, you did.
Great.
That's right. Very cool.
And he did a great job. I knew he would. He did a great job back in December when we had the first one. Yeah. So very, very cool. And let's see. Johnny Fitz says hello. Hello, Johnny Fitz. Nice to see you.
Hi,
and thank you for joining us. Absolutely. And Carl tells us, first he says, Anthem Homunculus is an episodic podcast musical, which is a successor to Hedgewood.
Cool.
Musical.
Great.
And it features, I guess, Glenn Close, Cynthia Erivo, and Patti LuPone, of course. Tons of other amazing actors contribute to the project. Definitely worth checking out. Agreed.
Excellent.
That's cool. That's a hell of a cast.
That is. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Yeah, Crystal, I was telling Fred, and I was asking him about Broadway HD, the streaming service. And, I'm sure he might have mentioned it to you, Ramal. He also said you've had conversations, but have you had a chance to really explore the channel and see what they're doing over there?
Absolutely. In fact, Gio Messal, who works within Broadway HD, and the whole family there is so wonderful. I've been in talks with them about a few of my pieces, including Open, and they've been super supportive. They're also super supportive of a musical of mine called Mary and Max with Bobby Cronin, who did the music for King Kirby as well. Yeah. As a teacher, I have found it invaluable because I teach often from, and Fred has heard often, Indecent. And we study the first 20
also
pages.
Stephen Rattazzi.
With Stephen Rattazzi, that's right.
Who's Indecent on Broadway, and Stephen plays Kirby, Jack Kirby in the King Kirby podcast.
And it's it's only a 6-person cast. It's kind of amazing. Not unlike King Kirby, which is 5, and they double a lot. So I also teach from Falsettos, which I believe they have, and Kinky Boots, and a few other pieces that they have. And so what's really wonderful is they have access to very high quality film that is you feel like you're there. And so for my students, It's the closest I can get without actually being there. And look, to be honest, I didn't, either we would get the tickets from TDF to teach them, you would actually go, or you'd have to pay all
you
this
would
money.
take the students.
Yes.
The students got to go and actually see the shows themselves.
So in TDF,
sometimes the teacher's husband gets to go
that's
too.
True. I brought him to
Wicked. Free ride.
I brought him to Wicked.
To Wicked. Fantastic. That's great.
Well, Fred had the best Wicked observation I've ever heard, which is, okay, so I land in a land of magical animals. Why would I want to suppress them talking? Why would I not get these animals into my balloon as the wizard and go back to America and make a ton of money off these animals that can talk?
John,
that's literally what she said. The
John,
lights went up.
I didn't understand the wizard's motivations.
He went on about the wizard. I was like, but he's a part of a totalitarian regime. It was written during the Bush era. And Fred's like, yeah, but seriously, he could make a lot of money off these talking animals.
Man.
The book was written in the 90s.
Yeah, it's been around for a little bit. But yeah, that was the original way it would work.
Good songs,
we would bring people
to
see
good songs.
The original.
Oh no.
But I highly recommend Broadway HD. There's also Broadway Direct. There's a few other streaming places. I've kind of put together this comprehensive list. I'll also shout out TDF, a Theater Development Fund, who is in front of the Red Steps. Their ticket booth was in front of the Red Steps in Times Square, which is the place I talked about that I'm going to talk at in a couple of weeks. But they make it accessible. They have a great educational component to high schoolers seeing musicals. And so they were part of the whole Hamilton thing. They're actually part of that Hamilton book and the education of Hamilton, in which they did a lot of great work with high schoolers. And again, they have those cheaper tickets. But what also I'll shout them out for is follow them online, because Raven there has a comprehensive list every week and weekend of all the things you can watch. And she does a great job. It's very detailed. So if you are a theater junkie and you're dying, and we all feel that way a bit, it again will say what's available at the Met, what you can watch here, what's on Broadway HD, and everything available week to week, and it's incredibly comprehensive. There's a lot more to look at, and not just Zoom plays. Not that Zoom plays aren't great, but there's just a lot out there that you can look at during this time and either study, think about. Maybe it inspires you to do your own thing. Yeah, it's weird. I really miss the live component very, very much, but I also feel like I have seen things and heard things that I wouldn't have if I was too busy, I guess.
Absolutely. No, and truly this year, as bad and strange as it's been, I really appreciate the creative people that have taken this moment and said, okay, what can we do? They then treated it as an opportunity as much as a problem, and it's that's fantastic. And that's, in my small way, doing more video here.
Right,
me and Fred doing trivia as we've done almost monthly and everything.
The King Kirby podcast itself is
it's a
classic pandemic project, and that we wouldn't have done it if we wouldn't have unearthed the old audio of the original cast doing the show and set it to music and set it to sound effects if we were not stuck and bored.
No, Carl wanted to know, and I know you'll be able to go beyond off Broadway, but he wanted to know how long King Kirby has played out there, and I will expand beyond off Broadway. I know regionally it's certainly done well, as you know.
Yeah, well, this audio is from the original 2014 cast. That's the people all originated these roles in the play off Broadway, and since then it's been done in Calgary and San Francisco, DC, Seattle had a great production.
And that's how we met Rob. Oh, that's how you knew Rob.
Oh, Salkowitz, sure.
That's how I met him.
Right, there. He reviewed the show.
He reviewed the
Seattle.
That's great. That's excellent. Outstanding.
Yeah, and to answer Carl's question too, like the off Broadway, it's kind of is a very cult thing. It had originally as the Comic Book Theater Festival at the Brick only 6 performances, which went to 8. We got 2 extra. The Times was of course invited. You never know if they're going to come, and Andy Webster came and he gave a terrific review, and so
awesome.
It's very rare that out of an 8 performance thing that something like that happens. So and we're very lucky that we had the cast back to record at Midtown Comics. So
yeah, that's right. We recorded in a comic book shop. Yeah. The podcast was recorded in Midtown Comics downtown.
In fact, Dante asks, with recording in Midtown, are you guys recording mostly after hours at the store, or do you record during store hours?
Yeah,
it'd be tough to do it during store hours.
Fortunately, doing it during store hours would have been rough. Fortunately, it was the employees of Midtown Comics downtown actually requested us to come and do the show in their space, and they actually recorded and mixed it for their own podcast, and that was actually aired on Christmas Eve 2014. And they were kind of to let us have the recording, and so that was what we gave to Bobby to then work his magic. Like in the original Midtown Comics, podcast was more of a play reading. Like you can hear me redoing the stage directions and stuff, but I was like, get me out of there. Add sound effects. We're just gonna do soundscape. It's gonna be a radio play and not a recorded reading of a play script. You know what I mean? Like that's the big difference.
Sure. And Crystal, I never remember, and I always have to bring it up that you were so kind to cast me in one of your plays when it was produced in Chicago. And I would think that would be
really... it. That's why you have the SAG.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Indeed. What's the title? And really, I know you would probably have to create music for it, given the premise, but I think that would be an amazing audio as well.
That's a great idea.
That's a good point.
Another Kind of Love, and I worked with Heidi Rodewald on that production, and I've been teaching from Passing Strange, watching Heidi on the screen for my students, and I definitely want to circle back and chat with her. She's an incredible creator and tour de force. She did some music for the TV version of She's Gotta Have It recently, and
cool.
Doing terrific work as usual. But yeah, I think that would be such a great audio experience, especially because of the history of the family. So Another Kind of Love is a punk rock play of all women. It follows the generations of women in this one house in Seattle. And it gets into drug addiction. It gets into, mother-daughter reunions. And it's really intense and fun and wonderful. And John was so great as the DJ who, was very excited about this reunion of the singer family that's happening.
Like Samuel L. Jackson, perhaps, in another Spike Lee joint.
Well, so
Do the right thing.
John, are you volunteering to help me of helping with editing and production and all of this?
At the drop of a hat, I would love
Look at this, because you're the master. Oh, look, I've already got it at my fingertips.
Well, I don't have...
Yeah, you see what he did there? See, and he just invited himself into a job there. I like it. That's smooth.
Very good.
Smooth. Well, I will confess, you'll probably have better audio technicians than myself. I mean, I'm a performer first. I learned how to do what I needed to keep various jobs in broadcasting. But again, I was always very lucky working at a place that had a full, massive, giant studio with, giant mixers and stuff. And, right now, it's the penny whistle version of broadcasting with Word Balloon. It's my laptop and a nice microphone. I don't even have a mixer here. And I keep meaning to get one, and I've got enough sound engineer friends to really get a nice sound and everything. But, that's why, I would be happy to help in any way I can. yeah, maybe that would be the impetus to up my technology a bit as well. But no, and I've told you guys, I mean, being the boxing nut that I am, I've wanted to do kind of a dramatization of the International Boxing Club story, and that's the group that ran boxing from the late 40s into the early 60s. That essentially was a front for the mob, because all the boxing contracts were held by managers that were fronts for mobsters. And if you wanted to, sign Rocky Marciano to a championship fight, you had to deal with the mob. I mean, it was that simple. Sugar Ray, all the great champions and all the great contenders. And finally, the Senate kind of caught up with them and brought them down in a big Senate, back when the Senate had teeth and didn't just go shame, shame, shame with appearing before Congress, like it actually had consequences back then.
Right.
So anyway, I just think it's it's kind of, Rocky meets the Sopranos, and, literally fixed fights, and you got to take a dive. That portion of Raging Bull where he had to lose to a less qualified fighter, Billy Fox, that was one of the main points of contention when the Senate finally did, investigate organized crime in boxing. And LaMotta, a good 5 or 10 years after the fact in the early 60s, is like, yeah, they told me that, the only way I could get a middleweight title shot was to lose to this guy, Billy Fox, first.
Well, and it's so much in, I'm such a film junkie that I think it's the one where, oh my goodness, Public Enemy, James Cagney, he gets sand in his eyes. There's that one.
Yep. I forget, but now he's a boxer, absolutely.
And of course, there's the through line of On the Waterfront.
Yep.
That's why he.
Well, honey, you do a lot of boxing yourself.
I do.
Had a girl.
Yeah.
We have a bag. I just did the bag earlier today. We have a bag out on the balcony.
We do. Yes. We do. Like, I take kickboxing classes, and when the kicking, I'm like,
I mean, punching a moving target. Punching a moving target is a little outside my, like an actual person. I've never tried that before, but man, look out, bag.
Yeah.
No, I'm hip. Fun. No, I understand it. I had a lot of football friends that would still have a heavy bag and a speed bag, and they would use that to work out and stuff. And and also Crystal, like you mentioned, On the Waterfront, I got to interview, and I think we've talked about it before, Bud Schulberg, the great writer who wrote On the Waterfront, and he wrote The Harder They Fall, which was first in the novel and then was Humphrey Bogart's last film. He didn't write Requiem for a Heavyweight. That was Rod Serling, but that's another great boxing drama and everything. So it's there's great stuff, and a lot of it is sadly based on real. God, Harder They Fall is almost almost true to life. Certainly true enough to life that the mob kind of hounded Bud for years after that book and movie came out, and just kind of definitely made themselves aware. Yeah, we don't like that much, and it's like. Okay.
And Golden, I don't know the plot of Golden Boy as well as I should, but Odette's is a playwright that I just really adore. And
absolutely.
It had, I think it was about 5 years ago, it had a very good revival on Broadway. And a lot of my friends who are actors who are great actors, but also big boxers or, really physical with martial arts or something, whatever because they really had this full cast in the background, always boxing, and
that's great,
very dynamically done. And which was made into a musical, and I believe that Sammy Davis Jr. played the lead.
I had a girl. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah,
the cat. Oh no, bad luck. What's the cat's name?
Newt. Everyone says that we get tired of the cats, but he's actually tired of he's just like, if you're not paying attention to me all the time, get out of my house.
We've been doing
he's getting more agitated.
Of these both of us on camera things to promote the show, and he is very jealous.
Yeah, very jealous.
That's outstanding. All right, I'm going to ask you to say it one more time because I can create a banner of where to send people to listen to King Kirby.
Yeah, I mean, literally just search King Kirby on, your Apple Podcasts. Really, it's literally wherever you get podcasts. Just type in King Kirby, and there it is. There it shall appear, and subscribe there. You can also stream it on King Kirby. You can stream it on the BroadwayPodcastNetwork.com.
Yep, and that's where the trailer is too.
That
So it's really
guess that's the private chat.
We have a couple video things coming out, but this is a beautiful video trailer.
Yeah, and that URL I just dropped in the private chat is where you can watch our trailer, which is we now have a video trailer for a podcast, which I know is a little counterintuitive, but it's really cool.
Excellent. I am copying that, and we're going to make a banner of that, and people can go to that URL.
But I think I know why Newt's so agitated.
Why?
What's the matter?
Is because he wants to play trivia.
Indeed.
Oh, do you think he's going to win? He probably is.
Well, I think he's excited.
We have great fans here who are going to win.
He's excited. And now for the first time, John has a second player with him in addition to the leaguers.
Indeed.
Was that a smooth segue? Was that all right?
That felt
Alan Ludden would be very proud of you right now as a quizmaster.
Moving into trivia.
Quizmaster.
But I am excited about tonight's trivia because there you go. Dante found it. Google Podcast.
Excellent.
But
a nice comment from Carl, Heidi, and Passing Stranger. Grade A.
Great. And Heidi and John have worked together, sort of. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
But
it might be time now to play trivia, and I know the subject. What's that?
We're transitioning.
We are transitioning to our game, and yes, the league is welcome to help me.
Yes,
and Crystal come up with the right answers as we.
So good to come up with the right answers.
And so I'm
really bad at trivia.
This is exciting, John. This has been another sort of fun pandemic thing you and I started, which I always look forward to.
Me too, buddy.
Which happens whenever I can think of 4 rounds of trivia.
It's seriously, man, the amount of work you do to do this is incredibly kind because I have done my own quizzes with other guests and other subjects, and it really, as you said, I mean, sometimes it's like, oh, that would be a great subject, and I really just sit down and jot down as many questions as I can. I just did it with Shelley Bond and Philip, her husband, who just made a great compendium celebrating 80s college radio.
Okay.
And I'm one of those guys. I was an 80s college DJ and program director of my college radio station. So I love it. It's fantastic. And yeah, I'm like coming up with all these new wave questions. And they're like, make them hard. And I'm like, all right, and I really did my research. Do? Oh, they're killers. And in fact, Shelley on the last round had several of her old classmates from Ithaca College, who were college DJs.
Oh, nice!
And I mean, they were getting all the one hit wonder bands like Scritty Politti and Prefab Sprout, and the Blow my personal favorite, the Blow Monkeys. Everybody, who could forget? So
that's great. So this is the 5th time we're doing word balloon trivia. Welcome, nice. John. Welcome, Crystal. Welcome, League of Word Balloon listeners. And so. As you know, the first round so this whole theme of this 4 rounds of trivia is Jack Kirby in honor of King Kirby. But, we kind of dip in and out of the subject. But the first round is called USA, USA, USA. Because I don't know if you know this, John, but I don't know what happened in March 1941. It's March 2021. But 80 years ago this month, Captain America Comics #1 came out.
Woo!
First appearance of Captain America, Bucky, and Hitler getting punched in the face by Captain America. And so the theme of this round is USA, USA, USA. So it's very patriotic. All the answers have America, US, some kind of American kana associated with it. Okay?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, so number 1. John, what's the name of Maxwell C. Gaines comic book packaging company where the Golden Age Green Lantern, Flash, and Wonder Woman were created, which he sold to DC prior to founding EC Comics?
That would be All American Comics.
That is correct. The name of that company was All American Comics.
The father of the other Bill Gaines, of course.
That's right, Father Bill Gaines, who took over EC Comics after Max Gaines died. And many people claim that it was Max Gaines' idea to sell Famous Funnies, the first comic book on the newsstand. So in its essence, Max Gaines actually created the entire comic book industry in the first place.
That's right.
Sort of interesting. There's some.
Have you ever seen in it's either in Back Issue or Alter Ego, one of those Tomorrow's magazines, Bob Rozakis did an alternate history of what if DC were bought by All American.
Interesting.
And how the decades would have
DC.
Yeah, and it was so interesting, and it was great, and really like there's Superman and Batman were the Flash and Green Lantern. And
okay. I see.
And so Richard Donner made an Alan Scott Green Lantern movie in the 70s, and there was a 60s Green Lantern and Kid Lantern, Batman and Robin sort of show. And it's so fantastic. And I keep meaning to get Bob on to talk about that, and of course his entire writing career. The Answer Man. But it was so much fun. It really was like this great alternate history.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Number 2 of USA, the trivia round. John Walker, the replacement Captain America, is set to make his MC debut in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier Disney Plus series. Under what code name did John Walker originally make his comics debut? You know this.
What? Because it's I'm going to guess, but I might be his third name. U.S. Agent.
I'm sorry, that's his third name.
Yes.
John
was it American Commando or something like that?
Do the Leaguers have any guesses?
No. Andrew says U.S. Agent as well, but unfortunately, no.
Nope, that was his third name. His second was Captain America.
Of
First
course.
one was Super Patriots.
Super Patriot, of
John
course.
Walker made his debut as Super Patriots.
Kind of a Guy Gardner sort of, politically conservative version of Cap. Yeah, Super. Here we go. Hobbit from PA. Got it correct. Very good,
right,
Hobbit.
That is correct. Well done, Hobbit. But yeah, so I'm excited for that show, and I'm looking forward.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
love big Anthony Mackie fan. That's cool to see him.
Yeah, well, and I love Sebastian Stain, and
sure. He's great.
And yeah, so real fast, WandaVision, I liked it enough. I mean, I was a little disappointed that it didn't have a more, like that there are still open questions. But of course,
sure,
this is like the opening chapter to what they're going to do with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and likely the other Marvel TV shows as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into my specific issues with it just in case for any listeners who hadn't seen the finale, but I found it overly unresolved to the point where it made it dissatisfying to me.
Fair enough. That's all right.
I would just say there's so much I loved about it, especially it's the closest you could get to musicals or a musical in the Marvel world on TV so there's so much about it in the half-hour format and just so many things that I adored. I felt that, but I did feel at times it was trying to explain things I didn't need explained, and then the things that I wanted more of weren't there. So,
but is there WandaVision trivia coming?
But
later
I loved
in the
it.
quiz?
But there are episodes I loved. Oh yeah, maybe there is. Okay, so we should.
I think there might be.
Okay, let's wait.
Fair enough.
Number 3, round 1. USA. Now I'm going to do the Doppler effect every time. Question 3. Timely Comics changed Captain America's triangular shield to round when they were threatened by a lawsuit from MLJ Comics, who said that the triangular design was too similar to which patriotic superhero which had debuted in their Pep Comics 4 months before. John, what was the name of the patriotic superhero that predates Captain America in the pages of Pep Comics?
I'm assuming that's the Shield.
That's right. The appropriately named Shield.
And there were a couple iterations of Shield. In fact, one of which, and maybe that's a question that's coming up. That was okay. Good. But the Secret Life of Private Strong.
That's right. Was that a DC comic or was that an Archie comic?
I think it was an Archie comic, and it was Simon and Kirby. And
right. That's right.
It was them rebooting the Shield. Yeah.
So Pep Comics is also where Archie first appeared, and so MLJ, once Archie went through the roof, renamed themselves.
Right. It was a backup feature in Pep and kind of took over the book. But yeah. No, I love all those MJL or whatever it is.
MLJ. It was
MLJ.
More, it's the first 3 names, or is it the last 3 names of the founders? So
right.
MLJ stands for like Maury, Lawrence and Jerry or something like that, or it's the last name, I don't remember. I have an exciting Archie Comics announcement later in the week.
I was going to
say fantastic.
A little plug there.
I was going to tie it in. I'm glad you did, because
they haven't announced.
I say things on these podcasts I shouldn't say, and then I get whacked.
You get whacked.
Yeah, if we weren't live, I'd say I'd hold the episode till the announcement.
That's right. No spoilers here. Number 4 in USA. John, wow, this is the fourth question, or the second question that begins with the word John. John Constantine first appeared in Saga of the Swamp Thing number 37 in June 1985, which was also the first issue of what long-running storyline pitting Swamp Thing against a series of classic monsters reimagined by Alan Moore, Stephen Bissett, and John Tolby. John, what was the name of the story arc of Swamp Thing in which John Constantine first appears?
God. Oh, that's a tough one.
Remember the theme.
Right. Okay, so it's got to be some sort of like all-American something or an American.
I'll give you a hint. It's named after a famous painting.
Oh. I think I might remember. I think I might
Leaguers?
guess.
Yeah, I'll leave it to the Leaguers if they know. The Swamp Thing story arc in which Constantine first appears. Of course, shame on me, and two of my Leaguers have come to my rescue.
American Gothic.
Right. American Gothic, indeed.
Good
American Gothic is correct.
Graboid got it, and Hobbit from PA
That is correct. Well done, Leaguers.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Number 5. In Howard Chaykin's American Flag,
Howard Chaykin,
our pal, friend of the show, the United States is essentially a corporate colony of elites on Mars. And the urban cyberpunk, that's a weird mouthful. The urban cyberpunk sprawl is better known in 2031 as what?
Oh, shit.
John, 10 years from now, according to American Flag, the United States of America will be better known as what?
God. AmeriCorps?
No.
Yeah, it's just a guess. Any American Flag fans amongst the league?
Any 1980s independent comic fans out there?
Shame on me. I love that series. And Howard was just on the Drink and Draw that we hosted on Friday night, along with Ryan.
It's called the Plex, is what the United States is better known as in the world of American Flag.
Great series.
Complex.
Unbelievable series. And made me fall in love with Howard Chaykin from the start. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah.
Number 6. After Frank Miller quit DC Comics due to a proposed rating system, he created 2 creator-owned series for Dark Horse, Hardboiled and this one drawn by Dave Gibbons, which introduced their heroine Martha Washington.
Give Me Liberty.
Give Me Liberty is correct. That is the name.
Massive fan. Yes,
Frank
indeed.
Miller, Dave Gibbons.
Which is such a cool collaboration.
That's right.
It's
set in Chicago, now that I think of it, at least begin in Chicago.
Yeah. And no, I've had the pleasure of talking to Dave about that. And I've had preliminary talks with Frank's people. So I'm hoping when he has something new to promote.
Very nice.
It was very sweet to learn that Frank's connection is a Word Balloon fan. And she's like, have you ever had Frank on? And I'm like, I would love to talk to Frank. And she's like,
right.
yeah, we'll make that happen.
That's great. That's great.
And there we go. Isham got that one right. Very good, Isham. Lovely.
Wunderbar. Number 7 in USA. John, what DC Comics supervillain team consists of Major Victory, Lady Liberty, Mayflower, the Sparkler, and my personal favorite, the Silent Majority?
Damn. And yeah, Major Victory. Yeah. Shoot.
Here, I'll give you a hint. They premiered in Batman and the Outsiders. They were perhaps Batman and the Outsiders' most frequent reoccurring foes in their series.
Very interesting. Isham, again, I believe, might have the answer here. The Force of
July. That is the Force of July is the name of that villain group. Well done,
That's great. So did Mike Barr create them? Because wasn't Mike the Outsider writer?
Yeah. Mike wrote the entire run, and it was mostly Jim Aparo, except for a middle part, it was Alan Davis drawing.
Yes.
You can do worse as a comic writer than working with only Jim Aparo and Alan Davis on your series.
I'm so glad that because Aparo wasn't a convention guy until very late in his life.
Oh, is that right? He was one of my favorites.
But he showed up in San Diego and got this massive standing ovation, and it really blew him away. He wasn't expecting it. It's like, people like me, and it's like, are you nuts? You're Jim Aparo.
I would say he is the best Batman artist of all time. That's
as we know, Neil Adams struggles with humility, but I putting it kindly. But I was really pleased that when I was talking to him, because a lot of 70s Batman artists kind of aped Neil, or at least took the template of what Neil did and Don Newton, guys like that. And I happened to go through a list and mention Jim Aparo. And man, Neil was very quick to correct me. He's like, Jim Aparo was his own man. He goes, Jim Aparo absolutely was doing his own Batman just like me. And I'm like, that is great to hear.
Yeah.
So
well, and he did it for so much longer than Neil did.
Well, and that might be why that
larger
Neil was nice and deferred to him and everything. But yeah, I thought it's like that's cool. That again, you don't normally get that from Neil Adams.
I bet.
So,
number 8, our final question in USA. This series from Al Milgrom and Herb Trimpe debuted in 1983 and was part of a spate of toy licensed Marvel comics in the early 80s. This one was inspired by a toy truck line from Tyco.
Oh, it's got to have either USA or America or something to that, some sort of Americanism. And it was inspired by a Tyco truck toy.
Yep.
And it's, man, Trimpe and Milgrom. That's amazing. God. Anyone in the league? Of course, Crystal was like scouring the quarter boxes for this series back in the day.
She loves toy. You love toy related.
I do love toy related comics.
Leaguers?
Shame on me, but ladies and gentlemen, Andrew, I believe, has the correct answer. It's
US 1 is the name of that series. Correct. Very good.
Very good. You saved my ass. Thank you.
That's 8-2. That's a very positive round. John, overall, you were 93 and 47.
Yes, I was.
So that's an excellent winning percentage. You and the Leaguers are crushing it, if I must say. And then 8-2 on this round.
Okay.
Will only improve your overall standings.
I thought when you said I was 93 and 47 that I was 93 years old in 1947, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Feels like it sometimes.
No, that's your. I don't know.
Record?
I'm too lazy to calculate that winning percentage, but it's very good.
No, I love it. I'll take it.
You're almost double over 500.
I'll take it.
Good.
No, that's good. I'm pleased.
So this next round
2,
continuing the Jack Kirby thing. This is Kirby on Screen. These are all movie and TV related, Jack Kirby related questions.
Fantastic.
And this first one, and some of these have multiple answers for multiple points.
Okay. Sorry, I've got my TV blaring with a terrible movie.
I like that. I thought that was part of the soundtrack.
It is kind of sad music and everything.
Aww.
This is the terrible remake of Going in Style that Bloody Michael Caine and
right,
Morgan Freeman and Alan Arkin made. And man, do you guys know the original?
No.
With Lee Strasberg, and is fantastic in this movie. Like that and Hyman Roth are his two great, to me, on-camera performances. But it's George Burns, Art Carney, and Lee Strasberg. And the original is such a sweet, fun little movie. And, again, forgive the politics, but I should have known this would suck. Steve Mnuchin among the producers of the remake of Going in Style. And it's just so over, like, produced and trying to be cool. And it's just like, no, man, it was like 3 guys in their 80s who are, like, sad and life sucks. And they're sitting on a park bench and they're bored with life. And, George Burns is like, let's rob a bank. And Art Carney's like, yeah, all right. And it's great. And it's a fantastic movie. And Strasberg the whole time's like, are you serious?
This does sound like my kind of movie. I love these kind of. Was this in the 70s or
79?
The original was 70s, right? Because Art Carney did a lot of interesting films. Even though he was mostly known for The Honeymooners, I always found him fascinating.
I agree. No, Harry and Tonto, the one he won the Oscar for. My God, that's a tremendous movie.
I love the 70s because I love it. I just feel like you just get a camera and shoot a script, and like it can be as gritty as you wanted it to be. And now it's like we got to make it look gritty. We need filters, and I'm just like, oh, can we just go back to the 70s? And
yeah, it was so natural. You're 100% right. I agree. You know what's cool, Crystal? Did I tell you? And Fred, I don't know if you knew this as well, but a couple weeks ago, I got to interview Lawrence Luckinbill, who. He was Lucy Arnaz's husband.
Oh.
He's in the original Boys in the Band production on stage.
Oh, my God.
And in the film. And, I mean, the nerds, we all know him as Cybox, Spock's brother in Star Trek V.
Oh, my God.
It could not have been cooler about talking about that. But also, he made a series of one-man shows. And he started with one about Lyndon Johnson. And he performed it at the LBJ... Yeah, the LBJ Library. And this was in the 70s. And Lady Bird and a lot of Johnson's old cronies saw it and loved it so much they funded 3 more one-man plays. So he did one on Ernest Hemingway, one on Clarence Darrow, and one on Teddy Roosevelt.
Wow.
And this year, he just adapted his Roosevelt play into a graphic novel. And it's great. And the guy's in his late 80s, and he's just kicking back and everything. And I imagine, I don't know how old Lucy is. But great stories. We talked for like 2 hours, and it was so cool, and really like talked about Boys in the Band. And David Susskind really helped promote the play and how edgy the play was in the late 60s, early 70s to talk about, gay stories back then and everything. And yeah, it was just a really, really great conversation. And he's much better known for his work on stage than he was in TV and film, but he made his share of TV and film as well. But I just had such a great time talking to him. He was amazing.
That's cool.
Super cool. And I think it's a little side thing. I'm making a note for myself. Like, we find it really fascinating, presidential plays. And we've been to the Lyndon Johnson.
There's a creepy robot.
Yeah. I wonder
Lyndon
if he
Johnson
did it near
there.
the robot. Cause there's this
With a
robot.
robot horse.
I'm kind of obsessed with that robot. Like, I love that robot.
I mean, it's sort of, maybe they liked his performance so much they invested in the robot. They clearly were they had a lot of money to throw around at the Lyndon B. Johnson, library. See it now, folks, before the Attorney General of Texas sues it out of existence.
Right.
Austin, the city of Austin.
The last thing I'll say about presidential stuff is my favorite musical of the old time weird musicals is Mr. President, which is about a fictional president.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is just goofy. Like, we've just been through a horrible president, but in this one, it's just like, oh, I'm the first lady. I have to travel the world. Or it's like, I'm in love with the security guard. You're like, oh, just all the fun, superficial insanities of a 50s musical about being president. Like, it's so dumb, but it's so amazing.
That's, and my favorite kind of fictionalized president play and film is Sunrise at Campobello with Ralph Bellamy playing FDR. And it literally is the period where he contracts polio. And, Mrs. Miniver, Greer Garson plays Eleanor. And great character actor. His wife was driving Miss Daisy. She was Miss Daisy. But Hume Cronin. Oh, Jessica Tandy's husband, Hume Cronin. He played Louis... I forget his last name, but he was like FDR's kind of like political fixer and stuff. And the guy that, according to real history, kind of got Eleanor out of her shell and really like helped her. Louis Howe was his name. And he's like, frankly, can't do it. You're the one that's going to have to go out there and be his voice as he campaigns for governor of New York. And it's, I love it. I mean, again, highly fictionalized and, doesn't cover any of the sad stuff.
I feel like I can talk about the presidents without crying again. Like,
I know what you mean.
Not that we're all healed by any means, but
no.
It's really healing.
Oh, round 2.
Trivia.
Trivia is really healing.
I'm sorry, Fred.
I think I might get some booze for trivia.
Really? You're gonna miss some of my questions.
Well,
I'll
bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Word balloon is all about the tangents.
If we were, we would go to the bar.
I mean, I'm not waiting for you, but
okay.
No.
I mean, I'll drink the booze if you bring it. But
that a girl.
Okay, John and Leaguers. Now that we're alone, we can move on to trivia round 2, which is Kirby on Screen. Kirby on Screen is round 2. So, John, I'm glad I'm asking this question before the booze has been brought up because it's a little complicated.
Understood.
So follow and League at home, just listen carefully. So this is the question. 2 MCU stars have previously starred as the same Jack Kirby character in 2 separate non-MCU movies, only to later appear as completely different characters in 2 completely different MCU movies starring Jack Kirby characters. Name the character and the 2 actors.
Well, obviously, Chris Evans is the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four movies and then Captain America.
Correct.
So that's one. So another actor who is currently in MCU movies has played a Kirby character in non-MCU movies.
No, he played the same character as the other guy.
So this is another person that has played the Human Torch?
That's right. You're 2 out of 3. So who am I thinking of?
Who is the other actor? Because Chris did him in the 2 Silver Surfer and the first FF movie with Jessica Alba. Where else have we seen? Got it.
I'm pretty sure the Leaguers have this one.
Oh, of course. Shame on me. Yeah, and they do because they mentioned Killmonger. Of course, Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan and Chris Evans both played Johnny Storm in different Fantastic Four movies. Chris Evans obviously Captain America, and of course, Michael B. Jordan was Killmonger in Black Panther, a character also created by Jack Kirby.
Yes.
Well done,
And
Leaguer.
really, I thought I didn't realize Killmonger was created by Jack. I thought that was
he wasn't. That's why I so carefully worded that question. Black Panther was created by Jack Kirby,
right? And now I'm blanking. The 70s writer.
And I did a panel with him in I think in Madrid. I have the book right behind.
Shame on us.
It's Don Perlin. I think.
No, it's not Don Perlin. It's or if he was, he might have been the artist. But I was thinking about the writer.
Don McGregor.
Don McGregor. Yes.
Sorry, Don McGregor. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, who
Killmonger.
You know, I only talked with Andrew. Got that right. Thank you.
I think Billy Graham was drawing at that point. I don't remember.
Okay.
If he specifically did the Killmonger issue, but
okay. That's awesome.
So that
I always
trivia question, but
I always forget that Josh Trank FF movie because it sucked.
I've never seen it.
Well, and it's so sad because Chronicle is such a great movie. I think. Also,
Chronicle is very well done. It is really with Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
I liked Chris. I didn't mind the first spate of Fantastic. They were fine. They weren't great, but I liked Chris Evans was great as Johnny Storm.
I agree, and I mean Jessica Alba. She's fine, but she doesn't. I'm sorry, I don't see Sue Storm when I see Jessica Alba. I see Jessica Alba, and then also I appreciated Chickless as the Thing. I just wish it didn't look like a rubber suit that he was wearing. Yeah,
the Thing is tough to pull off. I think.
Yeah,
CGI.
Oh yeah.
Number 2, Kirby on Screen.
Oh, that's funny. Andrew says real fast that the Trank movie, it's fun if you don't think of it as an FF movie.
Fair enough.
And, Michael B. Jordan is great in everything. I totally agree. I wonder what they're going to do with the Black Panther movies, Fred. I can appreciate handing the mantle to Shuri, and I think it's Shuri. I think that's a great idea, his sister, if they want to. I also wouldn't object to recasting, because I think T'Challa is such a great character, and I'd hate to see him.
Well, I think he said specifically they're not going to do that.
Yeah, and I understand. I mean, and again, Chadwick Boseman was amazing. So
yeah, we'll see if anything comes of that. They might quietly retire it. I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, on to the next question.
And speaking of the MCU, John, in the MCU, Thanos says he is from the planet Titan. Canonically, in the comics, however, he comes from Saturn's moon Titan, as he is a member of what Jack Kirby created species?
I would assume he's an Eternal.
That is correct. The Mad Titan is also a Mad Eternal.
There you go.
Believe it or not. I think that was a
Jim Starlin creation, but the Eternals, of course, the Kirby creation. But
correct.
Love talking to Starlin about Thanos.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
He seems like a cool guy.
Sweet guy. Really sweet guy. And again, I don't mean this in a pejorative way, but just one of those great old hippies.
Oh, sure.
You know, that just relaxed in terms of that and everything, and as opposed to being an uptight elderly person and stuff.
Great.
Just a real loose, good dude and everything. Yeah, I like Jim a lot.
That's great. Number 3, as promised, here's the WandaVision question.
Here we go.
WandaVision, the Disney Plus series, features Wanda Maximoff / Scarlet Witch, The Vision, Jimmy Woo, and Agatha Harkness, all characters who had either been created, co-created, or were simply drawn by Jack Kirby at one point or another. John, of those 4 characters, which one appeared first in comic books? Scarlet Witch, Vision, Jimmy Woo, Agatha Harkness.
That would be Jimmy Woo in the 50s. And I won't say the title because it's inappropriate these days. Let's just call him the Claw.
Okay.
Was the bad guy. But that is the one positive thing that came out of that series was this great Japanese hero, Jimmy Woo.
Chinese, but yes.
Oh, Chinese, pardon me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jim Woo appeared in the forgive me, I'm going to say it. Yellow Claw #1, July 1956. Not a lot of people know that he was the first major Asian American hero in comics, at least in terms of anchoring his own series. FBI agent as he is in the movies. Later on in the comics, he graduated to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep, and Agents of Atlas, of course. One of my favorite early 2000 series by Jeff Parker and Gabe Hardman. I believe Al Feldstein, the great AC creator and Mad Magazine guy,
co-created Jimmy and the aforementioned Mr. Claw.
Yellow Claw. Yeah. No. It's I mean, they've brought the character back, the Claw, and made him, given him different names over the years, and he's a Fu Manchu kind of cipher in terms of an Asian Moriarty, if you will.
The Mandarin.
Certainly, yes.
Kind of descendant of, and now they're kind of melding all those characters together in the Wet Bar. I'm excited.
Nice.
Just got kicked.
You're gonna be a mixologist for us, Crystal. You're gonna.
This is now officially pub trivia.
Yes.
Good.
Number 4. Jack Kirby took over drawing the aforementioned Yellow Claw series after the untimely death of its artist and co-creator John Manley in 1958.
Okay.
Joe Manley was a very excellent, had a very sort of, I'd call it a pretty style, like much more of an illustrative style than you're used to seeing in modern American comics. Like he was almost like, I would compare him to sort of an Alex Raymond, someone of that ilk. But sadly, he fell between 2 commuter cars in Long Island and died very suddenly. And that's sort of actually what sort of elevated Kirby to being top dog at Marvel, because before that, Joe Manley was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Joe Manley was top dog. In 1955, 3 years before his death, Manley with Stan Lee co-created What Hero, that in a bizarre coincidence is being portrayed by Game of Thrones Kit Harington in the upcoming adaptation of Jack Kirby's Eternals.
Oh, jeez.
Ooh, that's a good
Who
one.
is the Marvel hero created by Joe Manley in 1955?
Would that be the original Marvel Boy?
No. Any leaguers know? The beleaguered leaguers?
This is a good deep dive, kids, if you know the answer to this one.
You know your 1950s Marvel characters.
Oh, is it, as Harry Bauer says? Is it
Harry, Harry, fellow Chicagoite. Harry Bauer, how you doing, buddy? Black Knight, 100% correct.
I had Harry on to talk about his audio adaptations of his Fantastic Four stories.
Fantastic.
And I love them. They're very well made, and they're a lot of fun.
As I was saying, that's what I used to do with the Amazing Spider-Man comics. So I'm totally there with Jimmy and with Harry. Sorry, that whole project. But yeah, Black Knight. By the time the character that Kit Harington is playing is technically the 3rd Black Knight, because there was the original King Arthur one in the 50s that Joe Manley drew, who was heroic. And then he became an Avengers villain in one of the Masters of Evil, as you may recall. And then a heroic Dane Whitman Black Knight showed up in the Roy Thomas, John Buscema run. And that is who Kit Harington is technically.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so.
I forgot about the Black Knight, indeed. That's great.
That's cool.
John, Darkseid's father this is number 5. Darkseid's father is Yuga Khan. His mother's name is Hegra. His brother's name is Drax. No relation. John, who is his uncle, betrayed by yet another Game of Thrones veteran in the movies? Name the character and the actor who plays him.
Darkseid's uncle.
Yes.
God, I assumed that the New God mythology started with High Father and Darkseid. I didn't know that there were New Gods prior to them.
I almost renamed this. I almost changed this question because he actually got a hashtag this morning on Twitter. So who Jack Kirby could not have imagined this character would get his own hashtag.
Or didn't know what a hashtag was.
And he absolutely did not know what a hashtag was. It kept like one of those little buttons on the phone.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mean the pound sign?
That's right, yeah.
God, I don't know. Let's see if anyone else does. I don't think this is correct, but I'll put Isham's guess up, but I don't believe this is correct. Is it Steppenwolf?
It is Steppenwolf. Isham is a celestial and is a Marvel character. Steppenwolf is Darkseid's uncle, and who plays him in the movies? Did the Leaguers get this one?
Oh.
This was the second part of the question.
I don't in the Snyder Cut and everything. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and in Justice, he showed up.
Justice League. Yeah, he's the bad guy. Yeah, I don't
Ciarán Hinds, who played Caesar in HBO's terrific Rome series.
And of course. God, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And he's in Road to Perdition.
Okay.
He's one of the first mobsters that Paul Newman has killed at the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
And, he's in the Tom Clancy Summer of All Fears with when Affleck was Jack Ryan, and Morgan Freeman is in that one.
Okay.
And Ciarán Hinds is the Russian that they're dealing with in terms of negotiations and everything. I'm a big fan of that dude.
Oh, very cool.
Absolutely. So Andrew got that one right. Very good, Andrew.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well done. Yes, Best Caesar.
Sure. Best Caesar. That's right. Much better than Little Caesars.
Yeah. Does he under Rico? Yeah.
I like Ciarán Hinds' pizza better. Number 6. John, this upcoming Disney Channel cartoon is partly based on the series Jack Kirby created when Marvel asked him to create a cartoon-friendly comic along the lines of his DC hit Commandy.
Is that Thundar the Barbarian?
No. Thundar. This is a Disney Channel series that is not aired yet.
Yes. There's an updated thing coming out.
Interesting. Okay, and it was to do something similar to Commandy as a comic.
Right.
No. I was going to guess Kill Raven, but I know that's not correct. The War of the Worlds comic.
That's Don McGregor.
Right. And I forget.
I guess he liked Kill. I never noticed it before. He liked Kill in the name of his characters.
Killmonger, Kill Raven. Yeah.
I would be Kill Fred. You'd be Kill Crystal.
Kill Crystal. Absolutely. God. I don't know. Okay. And yeah, you're probably, again, Isham, it seems like you are my MVP tonight. Devil Dinosaur?
What is the full name of the cartoon in order to get the correct?
The
full point. I need the name of the cartoon.
Is it Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl?
Close enough. It's Moon Girl and Devil.
Yes.
All right, there we go.
Every word was there. It was.
I will accept that.
Thank you. Thank you.
From a comic created by my buddies Brandon Montclair and Amy Reeder.
Very excited about this project.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So number 7. This is another very elaborate question.
All right.
So most of the characters in Captain America: The First Avenger, the movie, were created or co-created by Jack Kirby during his 1940s or 1960s run on the character. However, this Hydra scientist was created solo by Kirby during his 1970s run on Captain America and the Falcon, where he was dubbed the Biofanatic. The same character also appears in Captain America: Winter Soldier, very fittingly on a TV screen.
Right. And I know this, and of course, Toby Jones played him in.
And Toby Jones played him, exactly.
God damn it. Yeah, it's not MODOK. It's come on, John. I'm sure someone's going to get this in the league. Of course,
here somewhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, the FF zone Harry Bauer comes up with the correct answer, which is Arnim Zola.
Arnim Zola, well done, Harry.
Yes, Harry.
And 64-page special also gets Zola, of course, and Andrew got it as well.
Ooh,
that's right. Well done,
everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for saving my ass. Big fan. Loved when he appeared in Winter Soldier as the Ghost in the Machine.
That's right. Okay, final question. Number 8. Kirby on screens are around. And this is very literal. Though Stan Lee is known for his Marvel cameos, Jack Kirby beat him to the punch, appearing as a sketch artist in what live-action Marvel adaptation?
It was an Incredible Hulk TV movie, and it was The Incredible Hulk Returns, I believe, the second movie.
Boom. Well done. I think it was the show. I don't think it was one of the movies, but fair enough.
Oh, okay. Because I thought
he appeared before. I think he appeared in both. I think later he appeared in one of the TV movies, but I think he was in an episode of the show.
And the footage was just going around recently.
That's cool. Yeah. No, that show is really, I mean, especially for its time, was such a great show.
It's not on. I looked for it. Is it on Disney Plus?
No. The only place I've seen it streaming is on NBC.com's streaming site.
Oh, not
and because it's. No, and actually, it isn't. It wasn't on Peacock. It maybe now, and maybe they've since added it. But no, literally,
that's why you're never going to see another Hulk solo movie because Marvel has to pay Universal the rights.
Yep.
Money because Universal has the rights to all solo movies when they did the Edward Norton Hulk
and the Eric Bana movie. Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't think that was Marvel. I think Universal.
It was pre-Marvel, but in both cases, Universal made those movies.
That's right.
No, I know. And
the Ang Lee Hulk was the first time Stan Lee had lines. That's the first Stanley cameo in which he has lines.
Whoa.
Because he'd appeared in both Spider-Man, or no, he appeared in Spider-Man 2. I think his cameo in Spider-Man 1 got cut.
I don't remember.
Both X-Men's.
Yes.
But it was. I don't need that.
Ang Lee Hulk. That's interesting.
So we've reached round number 3, John.
Yes. Oh, is this our time for a picture round?
Which is time for the picture round. And if you follow me on Twitter and you follow John on Twitter, you already know what it is. It's the exciting new game show.
He's getting the image ready.
The Nation.
Yes.
Stretching.
Woo!
There we go. Oh, yes, indeed. I saw this teased. Stand by one moment. There it is.
It's Eternal or New God. So this is a really simple game. The rules are really simple, John, which is I'm going to show you a picture and you're going to tell me whether it is I'm showing you a picture of an Eternal or a New God.
Oh.
Now, John, I'm not going to insult you.
Oh, my.
By showing you pictures of any characters you would actually recognize.
Oh, it is going to be tough.
These are all background characters, and for extra points, can you guess what I've named them? Because none of these characters actually have names.
Oh.
So I, being the creative type that I am,
no, but I look forward to these names.
Stepped in and taken some creative license with the work of the master.
Maybe you're going to have to confer with Tom King and Anna Duvet and
that's right.
New God's movie and suggest these names.
And any Warner Brothers lawyers that may be watching this podcast. But anyway, and as a reminder, I can actually only see my screen. So that's how the screen sharing on the broadcast works. So here we go. Who is this guy? A new god or an eternal?
I'm going to guess that's an eternal.
No, I'm afraid he is from New Gods number 7, and I have named him Fisto for reasons that I feel like are obvious.
Yes,
I feel like they're obvious.
Ladies and gentlemen, we call him Fisto. Sounds great, Stan. Thank you. Outstanding.
This character.
Isham got it right. Very good.
New God or an Eternal.
Well, I'm sorry. One moment.
She's amazing.
Yeah. I'm going to guess that's a new god.
You are correct.
And her name is, pardon me?
That is a new god. Her name is Dread Pirate Roberta.
She was in Mr. Miracle.
She was in Mr. Miracle.
Wow,
that's
she's just great.
That's right.
I got to look really carefully at the art, and I think that will help me.
Fair enough.
So,
is this an Eternal or a New God?
One moment. There we go. And I got to take Hobbit's correct answer.
Look at that, taking out the dialogue. So no.
That's
help.
right. That's right.
Fred,
lettering won't give it away.
Well, given that it's almost, but it's not, it's like a combination of Desaad and Professor X, I'm going to say that's an Eternal.
Is correct. This is from Eternals number 10. I have dubbed this character Zoom Host. I think this is the guy, this is the Eternal who lives inside your computer. Inside Zoom and controls all your Zooms.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's fantastic. I like it. Boy, if only Kirby were around and could create Eternals that would be connected to COVID and Zoom and all this stuff now.
See that blue Kirby crackle screen in the base of his thing there? That is what Zoom looks like when you're not on it.
That's hilarious. That's true.
That's what I'm thinking.
Wow, you're blowing my mind, man. You're blowing. Oh, wait, there we go.
This is the next one. Is this an Eternal or a New God?
This is incredible.
I'm looking at it. I am going to say that is an Eternal.
I'm afraid not.
All right, then.
A New God, and I have dubbed this character Fidgety Spinner.
Yep.
I feel like that is a thing Kirby would have done if he was alive when there were fidget spinners.
Yeah,
I like it.
There
I
would
like
have
it a lot.
Yeah.
In New Gods number 3, very interesting.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
All right, next image. Here we go.
Please ignore my blurry scanning.
No, but I like it, and you love the armor that Kirby would create. Yeah. Now this is an Eternal. It looks like an Eternal cocoon of some sort.
That is correct.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That is from Eternals number 1, and I have dubbed him Stone Temple Pilot.
Not pilots, because pilot.
Well, there's more than one. I guess I could have called them Stone Temple Pilots. That's a good point.
Right.
That's very true. There are more than one there. That's great. I mean, God, seriously, like this stuff and like the stuff that they reprinted in Heavy Metal, all the Lord of Light imagery and everything. I mean, that's the thing. It's like what a brain this man had in terms of design. Just amazing.
Absolutely. What's the deal with this guy? Is he an Eternal or a New God?
Nice loincloth. I'm gonna guess that's an Eternal.
You are correct. This is from Eternals number 11, and I have named him Sumor the Unwrestleable. I am Sumor. Fear my loincloth, etc.
Yeah, please don't. Please, let's not have a breeze at that moment. Let's have a nice calm skies, please, for Sumor.
That's right. That would be rough. What about this guy?
I'm excited.
What's his story?
Interesting. I'm going to say that's a New God.
You are correct.
Because someone obviously inked over Kirby and kind of corrected those faces. That's my suspicion.
It's possible. But I've dubbed this guy Lord Infomercial. Which, because I just feel like he's trying to sell me like,
a reverse mortgage is actually a hell of an investment.
Exactly, that's right. You should get all the Medicaid benefits you deserve.
What was the spoon we were seeing them sell? It's like a spoon, but it's a
yes.
What's it called? The splat?
Yeah, it was. I don't know. They're talking about Tuscany.
We watch a lot of baseball. And all the commercials on.
There are a lot of weird commercials on the MLB network.
Yeah, it's just weird.
If I see all the it used to be all the commercials on the network were about my dick doesn't work and I need a new car.
Right.
It was either my dick is shaped weird, it doesn't get erect anymore. Like it was a wide range of, and a lot of commercials where you didn't even understand what the problem was with the dick. But if you had that problem, you were getting it. You were like on their wavelength.
Understood either. Like no one understood the
it's very strange.
But the spoon, is it that wooden spoon? That they're like, it's such a great thing, and it's some sort of Dutch like wooden spoon.
Yeah, Italian, I think is what it's supposed to be.
Oh, it's Italian?
From the Renaissance.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Weird.
I love this guy. This is our final.
Hold on. Stand by. All right, here we go.
Final one here. I like the sperm. Headdress,
cool.
which I just noticed.
That's an ancient symbol, Fred.
Of sperm, I know.
I'm going to guess... I'm going to guess New God again. It's an Eternal.
Limbaugh, the Blyovator, is I've named this guy. The T is silent in Limbaugh.
Yeah,
you're killing me, man. That's fantastic.
But that was
great.
That was a fun game, and I've lost my.
I love that.
An ad for our...
And we end with an ad for our podcast.
Don't forget to watch it.
That's right.
Excuse me. Stand by. There we go.
There we go.
Yes, so there you go, and premiering today.
And
it was actually last month. Excuse me.
Premiering last month.
Last month. That's right.
It's all
an old card,
so you can binge it, and we'll send you a spoon if you listen.
That's right.
You know what I blew as far as
to make your dick work again.
My eBay ephemera biddings that I've done lately, and I bought all those albums, and like I told you, I bought the Danny's Hideaway ashtray. I blew at getting a saucer, cup, and spoon from the Friars Club in New York. And I'm still kicking myself that I didn't get that, because that would have been nice.
Now, was the logo of the Friars Club like stamped on it or anything?
Yes. And it's kind of a like Friar Tuck looking kind of Franciscan monk, friar of some sort. Yeah. So we've come to the fourth round. I'd like to imagine that Milton Berle drank from the cup or somebody like that.
Oh,
that's right.
Milton.
But I would definitely wash it before using it.
Anyone who drinks out of it becomes 25% funnier.
You would hope so. Although Freddie Roman could have drank from it as well, and not one of the better Friar comedians. But
then you would have been 25% less funny.
There you go.
As always, the last
connect. It's time for the connection round.
It is exactly. You see, I've trained you well, my son.
Wow. I've only heard of this. I've only heard Fred say these things like when I'm downstairs. I've never been here.
That's right. Well,
for this moment,
Crystal, you're welcome.
Yeah. Wow. This is where the magic happens.
It's all right. You can
so explain the round to our listeners who might be new to.
Of course. So the mystery round is 10 questions. usually sort of a broad range of geek trivia. However, the 10th and final question is there's a theme to all my questions. What is it?
Okay.
So you're going to hear 9 questions of general interest geek knowledge. And the 10th one is, what is the theme? And that is why it is the mystery round. Mystery theme round, more accurately. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Yes.
Number 1. This Marvel Comics crossover ran from December 1989 to February 1990, and perhaps most memorably features Spider-Man possessed by the cosmic power of Captain Universe. This is a late 80s, early 90s company-wide
crossover.
Crossover in the books, not like a mini-series.
So what would be... All right, so late 80s. That's kind of my blind spot, but I'll try.
It involved the villains swapping arch enemies, and so villains you wouldn't normally expect fighting one hero would fight that hero, and vice versa.
Yeah. League, any thoughts? I will admit I'm drawing a blank, unfortunately. I love the idea of Captain Universe, and people are saying Acts of Vengeance.
That's
very
right.
Nice.
Very good. Andrew was correct.
That's right. The hero that can be is a Captain Universe reference.
That.
Weird Steve Ditko, late Steve Ditko creation from Marvel.
Yep.
Well done, League. Number 2. This science fiction heroine made her debut in 2000 AD, number 15 in 1980, and despite common rumor, artist Brian Boland claims he did not base her appearance on Blondie frontwoman Debbie Harry.
2000 AD blonde heroine. Well, is it a Judge Dredd? It's one of those. Is it a judge? I'm assuming it might be a judge from the Dredd universe, maybe. Or no, no, I take that back. Would that be Halo Jones?
I'm sorry, John. I was looking for Judge Anderson. You were right.
It is Judge Anderson. Oh, okay.
Judge Anderson.
I wouldn't have remembered Judge Anderson's name. Isham, however, did remember it. So very good, Isham. Well done.
And she is basically the main character of the very good movie Dredd.
Yes.
Carl Urban.
Yeah.
The actress who plays Judge Anderson, her name is Olivia Thirlby.
Oh.
Thirlby. Number 3. This Sandman character was an escaped nightmare taking human form who fled to Earth where he became a serial killer before he was recaptured by Morpheus.
Oh, shit. All right, that I'm definitely not going to get, unfortunately.
Leaguers, can you help out, John?
Yeah, can you help me out,
The
kids?
Sandman character was an escaped nightmare taking human form who fled to Earth where he became a serial killer before being recaptured by Morpheus.
Nobody's answering.
Going once.
Yeah.
Going twice. 3 times a lady. That's the Corinthian.
Okay. Oh, and then, of course, Brian and Isham, of course, right as you said,
got it.
come through.
Yeah.
They got it.
Very nice. Very nice. Number 4. This Tibetan-trained superhero created for Charlton Comics by Pete Morisi was the basis for Watchmen's Ozymandias.
Peter Cannon Thunderbolt.
Boom! Peter Cannon Thunderbolt. That is correct.
Big fan.
Boom, boom, boom. I should have exciting news about that as well. Currently appearing...
Oh, excellent, because I know that license is...
owned by Dynamite.
Yes.
At the moment, or at least licensed. I'm not quite sure what the relationship is. He's currently appearing in my Dynamite Dynamite zombie series.
Outstanding.
Season 2 starts in June, kids.
Isham, that one you're incorrect. You said the Green Llama.
Nope.
But no.
Green Llama also appeared in Dynamite, but he was killed. He got turned into a zombie and then was blown up on the side of Mount Everest.
Nice.
As sometimes happens when you're a super zombie.
What other heroes are in your zombie series?
Well, Miss Fury.
Great.
Yes.
Personal favorite. She's 70 years old, 80 years old.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
Captain Future.
Excellent. I would love. I'm going to have to pick this up, Fred. I didn't know this was happening.
It's doing really well.
It is. We've been renewed for a second season. First season did very well. Your Dynamite favorites: Red Sonja, Vampirella, of course, Deja Thoris, and John Carter of Mars.
Great.
major characters.
Sure.
All your Project Superpowers pals like Black Terror.
Great.
Love me some Mighty Samson.
Sure. Love Mighty Samson.
And I'm sure
Mighty Samson played in the cartoon, or no, excuse me, Young Samson played in the cartoon by Tim Matheson.
That's right. Who also voiced Jace on Space Ghost.
Yes, and Johnny and the original Johnny Quest, of course.
I did I write this column for 13th Dimension, and my next one is on Space Ghost. So
we watched all Space Ghosts, all of them.
And Crystal's insistence that Jace and Jan were boning has been incorporated into.
Come on, they had to be.
I know. Fred keeps being like they're brothers. It's like
that's what the Wikipedia says. Although I was paying attention, at no point in Space Ghost is the actual relationship between anyone
explained.
Much less Jan and Jace explained.
It's so amazing. It's an art piece.
When Alex Ross did his Space Ghost miniseries for DC, 10 or 20 years ago, whenever it was, that's been a favorite subject to go back to with Alex. And Alex is like just a year or two younger than me. And we were massive Space Ghost fans. I mean, come on. All those action Hanna-Barbera cartoons, Galaxy Trio, Birdman, Herculoids.
Herculoids was probably my favorite. I'm a generation after you, right? So I remember the Space Stars.
Yes.
The 80s revival of Herculoids and Space Ghost.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they added some very superhero ones. I forget what their names are. But anyway, original Space Ghost. The other problem with the original Space Ghost, I'm afraid, is that you have two pretty good Space Ghost episodes, and in between, like a shit sandwich, is wedged Dino Boy in Lost Valley.
That Lost Valley,
where he's a friends with Ugg the Caveman, who is named after my reaction to every episode.
Hilarious.
Of Dino Boy in the Lost Valley. The only thing that made Dino Boy bearable to me was I pretended that the only reason Ugg the Caveman kept saving him was because Ugg was ultimately going to eat him. And so I kept making up dialogue for Ugg about, I can't wait to eat that Dino Boy. And I assume that's why this series ended, was because Ugg finally got sick of this kid or fattened him up to the point.
And Ugg was pretty competent and smart. And that boy was so annoying. And he I hated him.
And in Ugg's defense, because Ugg is a Neanderthal, technically that's not cannibalism.
Okay.
Because they're not the same species. So technically, I wouldn't. If I was on the jury, I wouldn't convict him.
There you go.
Space Ghost is way better than.
Yes,
agreed.
It is.
Dino Boy.
Mystery round. Number 5.
Okay.
What is the title of the lead story in Giant-Sized X-Men number 1?
Oh Jesus. Written by Len Wein. Len Wein and Dave Cockrum. The lead story in Giant-Sized X-Men number 1, introducing the new team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember, and I will lean on my kids to help me out. Help me, League. You're my last hope.
The grading pencil is hovering menacingly over the clipboard.
First story arc for Giant-Sized X-Men number 1.
That's right.
I just had Claremont on to talk about that new Marvel collection of all of his stuff.
Oh, yeah?
And Len Wein, of course, wrote that story.
That's right.
Yeah. First time I ever had Claremont on Word Bowling.
Oh, that's interesting. That must have been a treat.
Cool.
Yeah, it was nice. No, we had a good conversation. I think it went well.
That's cool. Deadly Genesis. The name of the story
of course.
Is Deadly Genesis.
Not to be confused with the band starring Phil Collins and Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks.
That was Lively Genesis. Genesis Live, if you saw them in arenas.
Yeah.
Peter Gabriel as well. And,
number 6 on DC Universe HBO Max's excellent Harley Quinn cartoon. Yes. Harley's entourage comprises of gal pal Poison Ivy, frustrated thespian Clayface, and this villain voiced by comedian Ron Funches.
Funches? That's King Shark.
King Shark is correct. That's what I was looking for.
He's very sensitive.
Of course, Dr. Cyclops as well.
Dr. Cyclops.
That's right, Dr. Cyclops, who is played by...
was it Tony?
It's Tony Hale.
Yeah, Tony Hale. Yeah, Pat Schumacher, the showrunner of that, has really become a good friend, and I love that series. It's such
a great series.
We love that show.
We love it.
It's great they got picked up.
Alan Tudyk, my God, that guy can do every kind of voice. It's amazing.
No, he's terrific.
Great actor.
And, what's her name? Kelly Prince, her last name?
Kaylee Kuko or whatever.
Kuko, she's terrific.
I never say it right, but yes, she is terrific. She's fantastic. Great Harley.
Number 7. Keeping with the Batman theme, according to The Dark Knight Returns, what movie did the Waynes attend the night Thomas and Martha Wayne were murdered in a botched mugging?
The Mark of Zorro.
Which Mark of Zorro?
Oh, what do you mean which?
Which one? There was 2 of them.
Well, I'm assuming.
Which one did they see?
I'm assuming the Tyrone Power one.
That is correct. But really,
these were the Doug.
Good job.
Well, the first one and the most famous one and the one that made the most money and basically kickstarted the entire superhero genre. Since before it, no one knew what the Zorro looked like because he just appeared in pulp novels. It was Douglas Fairbanks who gave him the mask, and that was a hit in not 20, but early 20s.
Yeah, something like. Well, that's funny because I remember being on a San Diego panel and we were discussing different superhero movies. And it was right after the Lone Ranger film came out and how it bombed. And another podcaster is like, well, when you have a concept as old as the Lone Ranger and expect a modern audience to embrace it, what do you expect? I mean, the Lone Ranger goes back to the 30s. I'm like, yeah, those Zorro movies really didn't do that well, did they? They did really well. It's like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm like, that wasn't the problem. But whatever.
Number 8. What Alan Moore pen series was abandoned after its artist Al Columbia famously and rather mysteriously destroyed all of his artwork on it after taking over his boss, Bill Sienkiewicz?
Is that Big Numbers?
That is Big Numbers.
Oh.
Correct.
Who was the original artist again?
Sienkiewicz.
Oh, okay. So did Bill destroy the art, or did someone else destroy
No, Bill did the first 2 issues and then bowed out, and Al Columbia was his assistant at the time. And the story goes that he completed both 3 and 4, and this was supposed to be like a 500-page, just epic. And for whatever reason, destroyed all the artwork. And I think everyone took this as a sign that perhaps it should not continue.
Yeah, I understand it. No, it's I haven't talked much to Bill about Big Numbers yet in the few conversations we've done on the record. So yeah,
right, interesting.
Bill's great. I love talking to Bill.
Number 9. This 2004 film is the sequel of 2000 sci-fi horror flick Pitch Black.
Oh, Chronicles of Riddick.
Correct. Chronicles of Riddick. So, John, we have come to the moment of truth. Number 10. What is the theme of the quiz?
Jeez. So going back, we've got Acts of Vengeance, Judge Anderson, The Corinthian. Was there something in between Peter Cannon Thunderbolt and The Corinthian?
No.
Okay, so The Corinthian, Peter Cannon Thunderbolt. Was it then King Shark?
No, you skipped one.
Yeah, what was the other one?
Deadly Genesis.
Deadly Genesis, right. Then King Shark. And then finally Big Numbers.
Mark of Zorro.
Oh, yeah, and Zorro. Man, Mark of Zorro. And they all relate to some sort of Jack Kirby thing.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you didn't say that. Okay.
It's open.
Although, in a way, this is very Kirby-esque. Depends on your...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose so. Isham is saying that it's the various books of the Bible.
Correct. Acts, Judges, Corinthians, Peter, Genesis, Kings, Mark, Numbers, and Chronicles are all books of the Bible. Well done.
Well done, Isham. You saved my
ass. Well done, Isham. That is correct. Books of the Bible was the theme. You knew that, right?
Yes, but also I was thinking, but you also they were almost all villains too, like in the
right.
Yeah, what are we saying about the Bible? Interesting.
That's right. So not literally Kirby-esque, but obviously.
Well, certainly religion
and gods
influenced much of his writing. No, isn't it? Honestly, I'm always amazed at that late 60s, early 70s period of Kirby where just like, I mean, isn't it great? This middle-aged man goes to see 2001. It blows his mind. He does incredible stories that start with the foundation of that original Clark story, comes up with Machine Man and all these other crazy things. The Von Daniken Chariots of the Gods obviously influences, everything that he's doing with the New Gods and Eternals and everything. It's just, I love that. And again, that he's coming up with these ideas at a time where some creators are slowing down. And if anything, that was like literally mid-career for Jack. And then, like I incorrectly mentioned Thundar the Barbarian, one of my favorites of Kirby's time.
Yep.
And then all that stuff he made in the 80s, Silver Star, all the stuff that Dynamite picked up in their Kirby universe.
Destroyer Duck, my personal favorite.
Destroyer Duck, absolutely. Let's help Steve Gerber out. Yeah, man. Good stuff. No, honestly, he was an incredible guy. Have we ever talked about that show called, oh God, now I'm going to probably blank on the name of the Canadian TV show that had Prisoners of Gravity?
Yes, you have talked about this before.
Yes, and they got like literally the last really good Jack Kirby interview, like in 93 or 94, when he was starting to sadly slip because he was reaching his age, but had a moment of clarity enough to give them a great interview.
Right.
Yeah. So, no, it is. I mean, I didn't start going to San Diego until 2006. That was my first San Diego. Chicago conventions I only started going to in like 2000. Never went as a kid. So, yeah.
Actually, my uncle co-founded the Chicago Comic Con.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Uncle Phil.
Wow.
Phil Bandry.
That's awesome.
We knew he was big with, he was going to
before Wizard bought it.
I didn't
was he with a store or any stores? What was his involvement in creating the Chicago?
Well, he loved Golden Age comics. I think the main thing he loved the most were the pulps. So he was a pulp collector, cool. And I think he kind of informally he was a Spanish high school teacher.
Oh wow, that's great.
His day job.
It drives me nuts a lot of times, and when we had live conventions, C2E2 would be the same weekend as the Windy City Pulp Show.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it would break my heart because I'd want to go to both. And also, ever since I've been doing Word Balloon, there's less of a reason to go to the Pulp Show, unfortunately. But It was so fun because that's the first time I ever met Jerry Conway face to face. He would go there. I know that, unfortunately, Steranko has said some recent unfortunate comments and that none of us agree with.
His dumb fuckery during the Trump era has been pronounced.
Yeah, and that's when they're, and again, I hate to generalize, but when they're over 80, it's like, okay, it's a different generation. I don't have to agree with everything, but yeah, his comments recently are very unfortunate.
Yeah,
and it bums me out because I do like Jim as a guy, and prior to our current culture wars, I could have conversations with people that I disagreed with, many in the comics field, and not feel bad about it, and we could still agree to disagree and still appreciate the things we did have in common.
Yep. So, it's
what are you gonna do?
The oldest among us have fallen prey to a lot of the nonsense floating around in the ether and on the internets.
What are you gonna do? But I love that went back to pulps. It's so funny. I was just telling I had Jerry on over the summer when the Punisher's emblem was, certainly being used by not the greatest people in the world, and the whole big question of is it time to retire the Punisher or whatever? Personally, I have no problem with the character. It's a fictional character. I understand the feelings on both sides, but that's my own personal take. But Jerry and I were talking about that. That was our main topic. But we had to talk about pulps. And it was interesting. He even said, he goes, I'm starting to get rid of my pulp collection because my kids and my grandkids don't care about that stuff.
Well, who was a massive pulp collector? Well, a couple things. Jerry did that great thing where he was sponsoring redesigns of the Punisher logo for Black Lives Matter. I got one of my favorite T-shirts. I would show it to you, but it's in the hamper right now.
It's a very good T-shirt.
Yeah, no, that's what he's talking about. Yeah,
that's great. I don't know. I would just say I think that if the characters run his course commercially, maybe make him a villain again. Which is he started out as a Spider-Man villain, became a very prominent Daredevil villain. Why not?
Sure.
Once these characters cross over to good guy, they very rarely go back again. But maybe someone should at least try it for a while.
That's a really good idea. I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah,
that's a really good idea.
And sorry about the pulps, who was a huge pulp collector and got a lot of his ideas from pulps, was of course Jack Kirby.
Of course,
who had just apparently boxes in his garage when he passed away. He just left behind this gigantic pulp collection.
Well, so many of those artists were so brilliant, and in fact, back to Presidents. One of the great pulp illustrators, and I can't remember his name right now, three-named name, went by, first, middle, and last name. And he became a portrait artist and ended up doing the portrait of Ford that is in the White House and everything, or wherever the presidential portraits reside these days. But yeah, he was a
National Portrait Gallery, maybe.
Yeah, could be, probably.
I think I can see in my mind's eye the portrait you're talking about.
Well, in the there's a great book out there that, again, if you're a big Shadow fan, there was a great softcover book about the whole shadow phenomenon from the beginning to the 70s, and it has a picture of the artist painting Ford and the painting in front of them and stuff. So it's kind of cool.
Very cool.
But that was included in and along with like a couple spot illustrations he had done for the Shadow pulps. I own one Shadow pulp, only one, and it's back for a brief period. They became digest size, like Reader's Digest or TV Guide.
Okay.
That's how small the pulps got for like a year or two before they went away. And that's the one that I have, is like one of that. And it's a totally nondescript shadow cover. I mean, it's a long shot. You don't see his face. You don't see that fantastic Sherlock Holmes sort of inspired face.
Right.
And everything. But I also know at the Windy City Pulp Show one year, Steranko had brought all of his covers, the paintings that he used for all of his 70s paperback covers of the Shadow. And he discussed them all in there. Oh my God. I mean, that's real. That whole period, also when Coluto was drawing the Shadow in the 70s, Denny O'Neil was writing it. I mean, that plus the radio show, because the radio show was running.
Radio show. Wow.
Coluto was great. I actually got to work with Coluto on on Marvel Zombies, of all things, where he drew. Come to think of it, apropos to tonight's quiz, we did a Black Knight sequence, original Manly Black Knight sequence for Marvel Zombies, which is awesome. Army of Darkness riff, right? Whole.
I got him at a small Chicago show. Coluto was there, and he was so sweet and was so great about doing sketches and like very generous about his price. And I mean, this is it was years before I started Word Balloon, like 2002, 2003. And I'm like, I go, how much are you charging for sketches? And he's like, well, how much are you willing to pay me? And then I'm like, would I insult you if it was $60? And he said, not at all. And he did it on a backboard for a comic with a Bic pen, a thin marker that has like kind of like a regular pen, but it was definitely a marker, and drew this incredible Shadow holding a 45, the hat, the scarf, the whole thing. And it's seriously like one of my absolute favorite pieces. That's awesome. I don't have it framed, unfortunately, but so it's not on my wall. So, I've mentioned before, right there in the corner, those are two Spider-Man comic strips, written by Stan Lee, inked by Alex Saviuk, and drawn by Larry Lieber. So that's kind of cool that it's Stan and his brother doing a Spider-Man comic strip.
That's very unique. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Fred it was more TV memorabilia. I'm not sure who did the print. You'll obviously know, but Fred got something cool today in the mail.
I got for my father-in-law was badgering me about, I'm one of these people like you ask you, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man.
So Francesco Francavilla, Armando did these prints. It's like this is turned into an unboxing video.
Yeah, it's unboxing.
I like it.
Oh.
And I love when Francesco does
really
stuff.
beautiful.
Now I'm like destroying it.
Yeah.
But
maybe.
Yeah, careful.
But anyway, these are my. I'm an OG fan of the Avengers.
Sure, that's fantastic.
We got our
Diana Rigg.
Our Mrs. Emma Peel here.
Indeed.
Cool. We can't wait to get it framed.
I opened it and I was like, oh no, there's only one of them.
Yeah, at first I was like, there's only one. I was like, no.
But it's because they packed.
Oh, fantastic!
Mr. Steve as well. So very exciting.
I think they're kind of looking at each other based on how you.
Well, it depends how we frame them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, that's such a great idea.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
I'll have to. Once I photograph these, I'll have to tweet it, Francesco, that I have his prints.
I always like to say my parents were deceptively hip for being, got people, a married couple in the 60s, and my mom was totally Laura Petrie, capri pants, and totally like artsy, would paint and write poetry and stuff. She was amazing. And my dad was more meat and potatoes, but they loved the Avengers. And I remember as a little kid, that theme song being so loud used to scare the shit out of me.
Right.
Not knowing what the show. I mean, it's like me at 2 or 3 or whatever. But they also loved The Prisoner.
Oh,
Yeah.
I am
You
a
love The
huge.
Prisoner. We
I
love
think
The
it's
Prisoner.
probably. I think it's like a theatrical masterpiece. Like it's so theatrical yet a TV show. It's my favorite show.
With you, buddy. Yeah.
I quote it all the time. Like when I wake up, like, who are you? It's like, oh, you know. I feel like every time I wake up, especially in the pandemic, I've thought a lot about The Prisoner because I feel like, how did I get here? What's going on?
Sure.
Cat have sensed I love these prints and instantly
Be
moved to
seeing
destroy
you,
them.
right? Be seeing you.
Of
be
course,
safe,
yes.
Be
yes.
safe. Be seeing you. You know.
Yep. There, I'm doing the salute. You can't see me. There we go. Be
Yep.
seeing you. Yeah.
Be seeing you.
Absolutely.
and Patrick McEwen, of course, was a stage manager turned actor, and so kept that theatrical thing going.
Now this is a reboxing video.
Look
All
at
right. So,
that.
oh, you're putting it all back in? Okay, good.
Well, the cat sensed that I
Yeah.
loved it and immediately moved to destroy it once
Exactly. Scratch. Oh my
The
God.
jealousy really, he's like Iago.
Do you guys know he's based in Indianapolis, the comic artist Kyle Latino?
I don't know.
He's done projects with Karina Becco and Gabe Hardman and people like that.
Oh, cool.
And years ago, he sent me, and it's framed right by my bedroom, further back in my apartment. But a beautiful rendition of a Connery James Bond next to McGowan as number 6, and he's got the numbers 6 and 7, superimposed or behind them. I forget which, but it's so great.
Cool.
And I love that it's like my one Patrick McGowan image that someone made for me. And God, somebody was doing great prisoner paintings recently. And I can't remember who, but I shared them on Twitter, and they were so fantastic. And another thing, as we speak about audio dramas, including the King Kirby audio play, and I will put up the link again for everyone to go there and listen. But Big Finish, the British audio drama company that does Doctor Who, and they've adapted a lot of the early Avengers prior to Honor Blackman, where the Doctor and Steed, they were two male. Yes.
David Steele, I believe.
Yes. So they adapted those TV plays as audio dramas, but they did 2 or 3 volumes of The Prisoner. And they rewrote several of the classic episodes, but they also created a couple new ones. And it's kind of like Carl Urban playing Dr. McCoy in the Star Trek movies. On the one hand, it's like, yeah, you're doing a DeForest Kelley, but for us fans, it's like, God, it's so great to hear somebody talk like DeForest Kelley again. And this actor, and I can't remember his name, plays number 6, and absolutely is doing a McGowan.
You know what I found lying? This is a great New York City moment. Like last year, I found just lying on the sidewalk the novelization, the Thomas Dish novelization of The Prisoner. Because remember when, I guess it was AMC, did that not very well received.
Right, the remake.
Remake, rethink, reboot, whatever that was with Ian McKellen.
AMC, yes.
Yeah. They re-released this very obscure 60s era novelization, and it's bonkers. It's fun. I'm like, if you're a hardcore Prisoner fan like I am, I thought it was kind of neat. But
I am. I absolutely am. Have you watched some of those documentaries? Somebody put out an amazing McGowan documentary where they did a series of interviews with him in the mid '80s. And
I would love to see that. I've only seen like general ones. So I haven't seen anything very
Scanners era Patrick McGowan.
Yeah.
Well, even post Scanners, I think, because I think it was even like mid or late '80s. It was before he did those Columbo revival movies in the '90s, and he did 1 or 2 of those. And I love back in the original Columbo run when he did those episodes of Columbo. I mean, and I love that he and Peter Falk were friends and collaborators that way. I think that's amazing. But there was one that was it was available through Amazon Prime, and now you probably have to rent it. I don't think it's free anymore on Prime. But it was so great, and it was a combination of these interviews with McGowan and also a real tour of what Port Meridian or whatever it's called, that town.
The Welsh, the resort.
Yes, where you can go. They have conventions there, and you can go and
the human chessboard,
your bicycle. Yeah,
yes, the Penny Farthing bike, absolutely.
Yep.
And I loved when Dean Motter adapted and did a sequel to The Prisoner, Shattered Images. Yeah.
Well, you know who did a Prisoner, and you know who did a Prisoner adaptation that was never published was
Jack Kirby.
Mentioned Jack Kirby.
Absolutely.
Oh, right. We talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he and Gil Kane. I think both had attempts at adapting that first story,
I don't know if
Arrival.
it's for Marvel or DC. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but they're fantastic and great pages. Absolutely. Fred, as always, wonderful job. I see you yawning.
It was great to be here with you guys.
Not from the company. Long day.
No, and I know. No, long day. I understand. No, you guys are outstanding as always.
You got the bar.
I mentioned I worked the bag earlier. It took a lot out of me.
I understand, Rock. It's all right.
Rock. That's right.
That's right. We'll be in touch about your boxing drum. I feel like that the bud angle is the way to go.
Schulberg?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had the best conversations with him. It was, again, because of my friend Bert Sugar, who published Ring Magazine and then published Boxing Illustrated. I was one of his writers, and literally got to spend several big fight evenings with Bud, got to know him, and it was such a sweetheart of a guy. And it was
these names, amazing. Bert Sugar. What was the boxer you mentioned before? Piddly Widdly? What was that guy's name?
Piddly Widdly.
You mean Sugar Ray Robinson? Or who?
No.
Piddly Widdly. Slapsy Maxie Rosen.
Slapsy Maxie, yeah.
Slapsy Maxie.
I'm telling you, he was light heavyweight champion. He was a good fighter.
That's awesome.
His CoStar album is fantastic because there's one trainer fighter scene where I'm shot, Charlie. I got to retire. I don't have it no more. That's the whole scene, basically that. And then the other one is two fighters while they're in a match are talking shit to each other, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, if I had those records, what I probably would have done a Mad Libs thing where it came with the filthiest, reactions or prompts I could think of.
That's what Art and Franco are like. We got to rewrite the scripts and make terrible. I'm like,
that's right.
If that's what you guys want to do, that's fine. I got no
basically
problem.
I'm 13 years old.
No, it's funny,
and always have been since I was 14 years old.
I'm totally gonna bother you, John, about those because they just sound terrific, and it just sounds like fun if we put them up that like a challenge, like people make up your own dialogue and put it back. I'm sure. Look, the kids, they're going back to school, but they still need more activities. And, and this is great because it's not digital. You don't have to look at Zoom. You can listen to it and then come up with your own thing if you're Zoom fatigued.
Totally. I'll, like I said,
for the children, John, let's help.
For the kids. I understand. No, I can immediately send you links to the Vincent Price ones that are online. I love both the script and the cuts. And then, honestly, I'll send you a list of what I have as far as the albums. And I actually even bought a new turntable to transcribe, and I can, it's got a USB, so I can plug it into my laptop and
that's cool.
Record the audio and everything. And I'm working on putting it all together. So
that's great.
Little audio magic coming in the days and weeks ahead.
Yay!
So yes. So BroadwayPodcastNetwork.com/podcast/King Kirby. That is a good URL, or
it is, or Apple Podcasts.
You can get it
as
anywhere.
The leaguer said, Google Podcasts, Spotify. You can probably put your ear to the ground and hear it.
Sure,
it's everywhere.
And as of today, we're almost a few away from 400 followers on Instagram. I know. One day it'll be 1 million, but that's a lot for us. So if you want to follow us at King Kirby Play on Instagram, that's super cool. And then we're on Twitter too.
But it's more important to listen to the podcast.
As social media manager, I get excited when people follow our account.
First of all, Hobbit says another good
thank you, Hobbit. I appreciate it. Thank you for attending and answering many correct questions.
And Andrew says, have a great evening. I just watched the King Kirby video on the Evil Comics channel.
That's, I believe, the video version of the roundtable.
Oh, it's so fun.
The audio dropped, and I think that video actually dropped today, too.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Guys, as always, I appreciate you coming on. Always fun.
John,
always a great conversation.
Great to chat.
And always good to hear what you guys are working on creative-wise. So.
Absolutely.
And I love this another kind of love idea, so I'll hit you back.
All right. That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
It is.
Yeah.
Cool.
That would be amazing. I think it would be great. Yeah. So everybody, thanks for watching.
Thanks,
Tomorrow night, I got to do my math. Don't I have something? I have something early, and why is it not? Oh, Joe Henderson, Lucifer showrunner, is going to join me around 7 o'clock Chicago time, 5 Pacific, to talk about Lucifer and his brand new Image comic book. And then, of course, late night on Thursday, starting at 12:30 a.m. Eastern time. So Crystal and Fred will likely be asleep by then. But it's To the Outer Limits, our rewatch of the classic Outer Limits television show, featuring myself, Gabe Hardman, Andy Parks, Jeff Parker, Ian Brill. Yep, all our favorites, absolutely. And it's a Leonard Nimoy episode. We're almost done with the first season.
Nice.
And we'll be moving on to the second season. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So look forward to those. And Tom King on Friday. Tom will be joining us on Friday.
Very nice.
So nice way to close out the week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.